Hello! In this video, I'm going to show you how we could start to send some of these layers, some of the objects that we isolated within this image, and send them to another image. Like say, for example, for your first image of the week, you have lots of stuff that you want to work with, and say, I found this image that I want to stick some of those objects into this image. I want to put the crashed UFO in here. I want some of the dancers around. And so maybe even the cherry. Let me show you how to duplicate these layers. Now you should already know how to duplicate a layer, but to remind you, if I go over any one of these images, like say for example this dancer right here is just the upper torso, I can click and drag him on the create new layer button. This duplicates a layer into the same document. Now in this case, this is not what I want. I'm going to delete that copy. Really, I want this dancer over here. To do this, instead of dragging and dropping, here I'm going to bring back this one right here. I already have this. I just want the finished results. This one still has a layer mask. I'm going to right mouse click on this one. I'm just going to tell it to apply layer mask so that I only have the UFO. But instead what I'm going to do, let me bring back these other objects. If I right mouse click on the image on the right hand side, there's a difference if I click on the pixel on the image preview. I'm going to click right here and notice that there's another duplicate layer option. This one has a little three ellipses, dot dot dot. I click on it, it brings up a window. So I could give it a name. I'm going to go ahead and tell this UFO so that it knows what to rename this layer. But look at the destination. Document is my PSD, I'm sorry, my PSIOTWO1 Photoshop Images Week 01. But if I click right here, there's other files. I could send this file to the cherry. I could send it to Tundra, which I want to, or I could even send this to its own, a new layer. I'm going to tell it to send it to Tundra. I go OK, and now I'm going to switch to my other image, Tundra. There it is. Oh, it looks so small. Here, what if I crash land them over here? It's all about perspective, right? Depending on if it's crashed on top of this mountain, it's huge. If I right here in front, it's like it's so small. So since I already have my move tool selected and I have show transform controls turned on, I could just scale this up. Now one thing that I do want to mention when scaling is where is the information coming from. We only have so much data, and Photoshop is trying to do its best to kind of create information when there's no information there. So when I press return or the checkbox right here, check mark, to apply it, it has to create data. So if you look at it, it's a little soft. So just bear in mind that's one thing that happens. Okay, I'm going to go back over here and say I want this dancer. I'm going to right mouse click on the dancer. I'm going to go to duplicate and I'm going to go to Tundra again. I'm going to rename this one to dancer. Dancer 1. Okay. And now we have the dancer. So maybe, remember, it's all about perspective. So if she's up here, she's huge. But if I bring the person closer, they get smaller. So maybe right here. I'm assuming that this spacecraft, this UFO, is large. Or I could always change her scale. I'll put her right here. And I'm going to go back to my other image. Maybe I want this one right here. Right mouse click, duplicate layer. I'm going to send this to Tundra again. This is going to be Dancer 2. Okay. Tundra. Here's my dancer. See how small? So large, small. So maybe he's like buried in the sand. Sand is snow. Oh, just put him right here. Here, let's go to cherry. This one still has a selection. I'm gonna, since I have a selection, I'm gonna go to edit, copy. You could also select from one layer, switch to the new document and say edit, paste. It's gonna paste whatever you had copied and put it on that layer. Since I already have my selection tool, I could resize this, apply it. I do want to mention that also under edit, there are other type of manipulation tools. We're basically using what is equivalent to the free transform. I went over in class one session, I believe the puppet warp, but this allows you to apply, if you want to manipulate some of these points. I'm going to put down different pins and say, for example, I want this to droop even more. I could change this. I'm going to apply this so it changes it. Maybe for the dancer here, we'll go to this guy. Even though he's really small, I'm going to go to edit. I can go to puppet warp. Right now I'm just having fun. You put down pins to tell it where not to bend and say I want to bend his arm. So you could do something like that. It's kind of like asking for help. So we have that going on. I could always select one of these. Under transform, there's other type of transform. Scale and rotate are basically found within the move tool, but you could always use something like distort, skew, distort, and perspective. You could warp. So have fun with these. Here's a skew, where if you want to put this kind of like on a wall. Now this one doesn't work that well because there is no wall within this image here. So you could do something like that. I'm going to press escape or this circle to cancel. Under edit, transform, you could distort where you're just basically able to really distort the placement. Here, what if I was trying to put this on one of the flaps of the what are these called? The tail wings. Apply it. I'm gonna deselect it just so you can see what it looks like. You can have fun with it. So these are different tools that you're able to use to create it for this assignment for the Photoshop Image of the Week. It's really an opportunity to have fun, to gain some experience working with the tools and just creating something. All right. Now I believe this concludes our videos for this week. I want to remind you that if you do have questions as you're working, please let me know. Feel free to ask or even ask your fellow classmates as well. But otherwise, you have your assignments and you have your project to look forward to. Have fun. Go forth and create.